Good morning. It is the 25th of January, 2019. Last night we went out and played trivia, my friend Jesse and I, and for the first time in quite a while, we came away completely empty. They're getting pretty busy there on trivia nights. And maybe playing against 100 other people is just too difficult? I don't know. Anyway, we had fun, and better luck to us next time. Had a couple of really good days in a row. Yesterday was a good driving day. Looking forward to going out again as soon as this uploads. I do want to get to today in history. There's a couple of interesting things, and then one I want to look a little bit more in depth or spend a little more time on. Alright, on this date, January 25th, in the year 41 AD, Claudius is certified by the Senate to become the new Emperor of Rome. I honestly don't remember if I mentioned it yesterday, but yesterday in 41, Claudius killed his predecessor Caligula, I think is what I read. Jumping ahead, almost, 1900 years anyway. 1924 on this date, the very first Winter Olympics opens, and it looks like it was held in, and please forgive my pronunciation on this, Chamonix in the French Alps. There's an X at the back of it. I believe it's Chamonix. I believe I also mentioned the Charlie Manson murders fairly recently. Well, on this date, in 1971, Charles Manson and 3 of his family members were convicted for the murders in 1969 of the Tate family and the LaBianca family. Also on that exact same day, 1971, Idi Amin becomes Uganda's president. And of course this was after a coup. And Idi Amin's reputation does precede him. If you haven't read up anything on him, take a look at it. When I was younger, they used to say that he was a cannibal. I honestly haven't looked into it to see if any of that's true, but he was definitely considered a pretty bad dude. Alright, 1996. What comes up, the fact is, a person named Billy Bailey, no, not Bill Bailey, not the comedian or the guy in the song, but Billy Bailey became the last person in the United States to be executed by hanging. I definitely had to look into this a bit more because 1996 seemed really close to today. It was kind of like hearing that the last French execution by guillotine happened in my lifetime as well. I believe in 77 or 78. Anyway, what happened is, to cut it as short as possible, he was convicted of a few murders, and he was sentenced to death. Now, the normal way that the death penalty was done in Delaware, at this time was lethal injection. But people convicted actually had the choice for a different method, and Mr. Bailey opted for hanging. He was convicted back in 79 or 80. Let me take a double check here. Yes, he was found guilty in 1980. He chose lethal injection, but here's the thing. Delaware did not know how to... he chose hanging. Delaware did not know how to hang anybody. So they hadn't carried out a hanging in over 50 years. So they talked to the folks in Washington who had hung a person a few years before this. And they did their research. Let's see. Okay. Although the method of execution had been changed to lethal injection, yeah, that's where we're at. Okay, 50 years. Okay, so they had to build the wooden gallows in Smyrna in 1986. This was constructed in 86 because originally he was supposed to be executed in 1987, but that got stayed. After it was stayed, or maybe because it was stayed for this reason, but they had to renovate the actual structure because it was not strong enough. Excuse me. And they went into all sorts of specifics. A couple of them that I found interesting is they used the execution protocol written by somebody named Fred Luchter. It specifies a 30-foot rope, that's 9.1 meters for the civilized world, with a diameter of 3/4 of an inch, which is 19 millimeters. And it had to be manila hemp rope. It was boiled to take out stretch and any tendency to coil. And the area of the rope sliding inside of the knot was lubricated with melted paraffin so that it could slide freely. The same protocol also does specify a black hood. A sandbag is used to test the trapdoor, and if the prisoner, if it's needed, they have a collapse board to which the prisoner can be strapped. So, yes, apparently the United States has executed a man by hanging within its own country within the last quarter century or so. Okay, well, hey, we're only up to 6.5 minutes. Not too bad for my rambling day and style. So we're going to go ahead and cut it off here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, it's January 25th, 2019, and I'll be back to talk to me again later. Bye-bye.